Woo! Hi, Cowboys, Cowboy fans, Cowboy Nation. How about them Cowboys? Whew, I'm sweating. I should have changed T-shirts before I did this. I'm just going to keep you for a couple of minutes here. Got to get ready for Undisputed tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, I got to get up at 2 a.m. Pacific Coast time here in Los Angeles. Join you 9:30 Eastern time, 6:30 Pacific time on Undisputed on Fox Sports 1, 9:30 to noon Eastern time. Before I spill all my early thoughts on what I just saw as I try to process them, quick cameo from our daughter, quote unquote, our 11-month-old Maltese, Hazel Bayless. Thank you. She's excited. Thank you. Thank you. Say hi to Facebook. She's excited. She knows Dad is really happy. That was a tough one, wasn't it? Say hi. Say hi. Her mom's saying hi. Ernestine's right here. Thank you. She's a sleepy girl. Okay. Thank you for that, young lady. She was rooting me on. Ernestine was rooting me on. I can't watch with Ernestine. She just can't take me because I'm going out of my mind. But she did run in here on the Bryce Butler play where she thought it was a touchdown. She was watching on the other TV, and her TV's actually like 5 seconds ahead of mine. So she runs in here with the touchdown arms up. And I said, no, hold on, because I'd just seen it. And I said, he got touchdown. She said, no, he didn't. He scored. It looked like the game had broken. And I said, no, he didn't. He didn't score. Honey Badger touched him down. I said, just go back in there. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. It's going to be okay. We just got a ways to go. So she went back. Zeke took over the rest of the game. I was sweating down the stretch because here's what just happened. The exact opposite happened of what we saw again and again and again last year. So now this year, which is a new year, we had to suffer through 42-17 in Denver. We didn't see that happen one time last year, not one time. And now we had to suffer through, you ready for this? Let me get this right. I just wrote it down. Yep. The Arizona Cardinals just ran 75 plays to the Cowboys' 45 plays. Think about that. Arizona and Carson Palmer just ran 30 more plays than Dak Prescott's Dak attack that controlled the ball so beautifully all last year just ran in this game at Arizona. I got to tell you up front, the Arizona defense is no joke. It was tough sledding in the desert, so to speak, mixing metaphors. Man, for a while, Zeke couldn't get on track. He looked slow. He looked like he was running in mud. Looked like he didn't have a fourth and fifth gear. The offensive line was getting whipped up front. But remember, man, when you got, obviously, Patrick Peters on one side, Honey Badger in the slot moving around, and then you got Chandler Jones rushing the passer and Carlos Dansby. And that kid Hassan Reddick is all over the place because he runs like 4.5, the rookie. Man, the more I'm watching, I'm thinking, this is no bargain. You know, I thought it might be a little easier than that, but it was just inch by inch the whole night, and yet Arizona's got a flaw. They're missing two offensive linemen. That Veldier, their right tackle, he just had no chance against DeMarcus Lawrence. And tonight, DeMarcus Lawrence was DeMarcus Lawrence Taylor. DeMarcus Lawrence Taylor. That's what he looked like to me tonight because he just got up under Carson Palmer's chin at will. And once Carson Palmer at age 37 starts to feel a little heat, man, does he not close up and get gun shy and shut down? He loses a little nerve. He loses a lot of accuracy. And they lose their way pretty quickly if you can get pressure on the scarecrow, the stick in the mud that is Carson Palmer. Now, on the other side of the ball, anybody who watches Undisputed knows I love me some Dak Prescott. I loved him from the first game that I carefully watched him, which was the game here in Los Angeles a year ago in the preseason against the Rams on a sort of late Saturday afternoon. Ask our man Eric Dickerson from Undisputed. He was there standing on the sidelines, and all of a sudden I'm seeing the kid from Mississippi State. I used to love him Mississippi State when I was on the other show on ESPN that whole year, which was his junior year. I was driving Dak's bandwagon, Mississippi State, and they finally got all the way to Tuscaloosa, and then the bottom fell out. Dak didn't play all that well that game. Then just had a quiet senior year, quiet pre-draft. I'll be the first to say I wasn't beating the drum for him to get drafted. Fell out of heaven into Jerry Jones' lap. This young man, he's not a kid anymore, at about 6'2", 240, all he does is make plays. He'll make whatever play has to get made. Sometimes he makes it with his arm, sometimes he makes it with his legs, sometimes he just makes it with his guts. And what set the whole tone for the whole night was the first Cowboy touchdown after they fell behind 7-0, and they very nearly fell behind 14-0. I'm not sure they could have come back from that. But obviously there's a holding call on the 14-0 touchdown that Carson Palmer threw on the run over at the flag and the pylon. And then they missed the field goal. And all of a sudden the momentum shifted, but you're going to have to go close the deal. And Dak went and closed the deal by going airborne and basically flipping over a couple of Cardinal defenders into the end zone, almost on his head, narrowly missed that. Just did a flip, basically. Flipped over 2 defenders into the end zone. It's an all-guts run. I don't recommend it on a routine, regular basis. But it was exactly what this team needed at that moment in that game against that defense, and Dak Prescott did it again. And then he made 2 more plays with his arm and his legs. So it's arm, legs, and then arm and legs, because they just couldn't really protect him. I don't know. The offensive line mostly got its big golden tails whipped tonight. I got to say it. They got whipped in the run game, and then they couldn't pass block. So when this offense can't control the football, you're going to keep that defense out on the field forever, and it's going to get worn down, and I don't know how it survived. This was the miracle in the desert tonight. Seriously, it's miraculous. But again, before I finish on Dak, he makes 2 plays where he bolts the pocket, beats the rush. He's got somebody bearing down on him both times, and he whips it across his body with velocity and accuracy. And he threw 2 ropes where I'm just like, good Lord, have mercy, to Bryce Butler. Bryce Butler's a stud now, underutilized, underestimated, underrated. Bryce Butler once upon a time got signed by here in Los Angeles by USC. He's about 6'3", 215-ish, and he can run 4.5. He might even be faster than that. He might be in the 4.4 range because he can fly. The Raiders loved him and had him for a while, and then Dallas, remember, acquired him some weird, sort of obscure trade. But he's their deep threat now. Terrence Williams has still got a bad ankle, made a couple of nice plays tonight, but hey, Bryce Butler, those are 2 huge plays, but the guy who made the plays is number 4. Legs and arm. Wow, he just made a few plays. I think he was only like 13 of 18 tonight, but did he not? And how many, what they need to do more of, and I don't want to get him too beat up, but he's 240 pounds. But when they run their read option and everybody's just crashing down on 21, just pull it back, take it right off tackle, get your 7 yards, get down. He did that late in the game. It was a big play, big first down play that got him 2nd and 3, and all of a sudden the floodgates open and it went Zeke, 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 and finally Zeke could eat. Eat, Zeke, eat. But it took a long time to get to that point when they finally just wore down the front 7 of that Arizona defense. But speaking of defense, I don't know how Rod Marinelli does it. He's a real wizard, man. 68 years of age. He's sort of the unofficial star of pretty much a starless defensive unit. But just remember this. You go in without Nolan Carroll. I'm not the biggest Nolan Carroll guy, but he started 54 games for the Philadelphia Eagles. He gets it. He knows that he's a solid zone corner, and you don't have him. And the kid who flashed in training camp, the kid I love just on his energy, his just sort of his spirit is Awuzie, and I think he tore his hamstring. I don't even know if he'll be back the rest of the year. And the guy who had the best camp of the linebackers, again, Sean Lee's like in another league, but with Anthony Hitchens, he's gone for like, I don't know, maybe 8 games or so. So they just don't have anything. And yet I said before, I'm sorry, the day after the draft, Jordan Lewis can play. I loved him at Michigan, and I said they stole him in the 3rd round. He had a domestic abuse case hanging over his head. He got cleared, but he pulled his hamstring and missed the whole training camp, missed all the preseason games, and missed the opener against the Giants. But he's a late 1st-round pick they got in the 3rd round. And tonight he played like a late 1st-round draft, just like I said on Undisputed. Again, you can see us tomorrow. I'm going to go at it with that Cowboy hater, Shannon Sharp. Ugh, can't wait for this. How about them Cowboys? Shannon Sharp. I'll be there bright and early. 6:30 here Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern time. And I hope to see you because I'm going to see Mr. Sharp. Because the Cowboys were not very sharp, but they just held it together on defense. And again, flipping the script from last year when the Dak attack kept going, 12 plays, 80 yards, ball control. Every game seemed like it was 36 minutes to 24 minutes in favor of the Dallas Cowboys offense. And guess what it was tonight? It was flipping the script. It was 36 minutes for Carson Palmer's offense to 24 for Dak's offense. I don't know. It just seemed like it was hot in the desert. I know it was indoors, but just a sweat bath in there. Sean Lee got cramps. That wasn't fake at the end. He wasn't trying to kill the clock because it didn't really help Dallas. He just got cramps because they're all losing fluids. I think Scandrick had to go in for an IV. But you got Orlando Scandrick trying to play with a broken hand, and at least twice tonight, the broken hand haunted him on plays where he could have made plays on the ball. The nice catch by Larry Fitzgerald. Scandrick's there. He's going to intercept the ball, but he's playing with a broken left hand. So he goes up and he's got one paw, and Larry Fitzgerald knows he's got a broken hand. So Fitz just goes up and snatches it because there's no real resistance at the high point of the ball. And there's another play where Scandrick just can't play the ball in the air. It's just sad to watch, but I'm happy he's out there. And for a while it looked like he was hurt. I think it was just a bad cramp. And Jeff Heath got hurt for a while, but fortunately he came back. Byron Jones started making plays all over the field, and I agree with John Gruden. I'm not sure if he's a corner or a safety. He's just an athlete. And sometimes I question his instincts, but tonight he played some serious coverage, just serious coverage on tough receivers and made 2 or 3 big plays late. So they get a little of this and a little of that, and obviously Sean Lee was still all over the field. And then you've got Malik busting up the gut, and Mayowa was coming off one side, and DeMarcus Lawrence Taylor was blasting off the left side. And that was the difference in the game, is the Cowboy defense is out there for 75 draining, sweat-dripping plays, and they just hung in and hung on and pulled it out. And I don't know how they did it. It went all the way to the bitter end. I was just like hanging on for dear life. I got a T-shirt on right now. I'm not trying to advertise for anybody, but I'm just pitted out. I should have changed before. Sorry about that. I will be wearing this T-shirt for the next game, though, because it worked. I had a Cowboy T-shirt. I had it on early tonight. I do believe in jinxes. I apologize. Forgive me, God, because I'm a God guy, but I believe in jinxes. I don't know why I can't get it out of my psyche. My wife thinks I'm completely, utterly nuts. And I do all kinds of weird stuff during the game. I found a position tonight where I sat with my hands behind my head. I didn't have this hat on. This is post-game victory hat. And I don't know, all of a sudden it started working, but I had my Cowboy T-shirt on early, and as they are approaching 14-0, from which I did not think they could come back against that Arizona defense, I just took the shirt off, and in fact, I took a shower at that point. I don't know why, I just took a shower. I just said, I got to take a shower, and then I put on the shirt that I lifted weights in this afternoon. I'm not advertising for anybody, and I'm soaking wet from it. So now I need another shower before I go to bed, and I'm going to get to sleep for like 4 hours here before I get up at 2 o'clock. But it was a guts and glory night for the Dallas Cowboys. I haven't mentioned yet the one play that Dez made. It was just all guts, all heart. It's the kind of play a leader makes to inspire the rest of the team. It's the play that Dak made first, which inspired Dez to make it second. So the first 2 touchdowns came on pure guts. And it showed me character. It showed me backbone. It showed me heart. It showed me all those great and elusive cliches I did not see in Denver. I knew this team was better than that. I said that this team needed to get smashed right in the mouth early in the season in a way that they did not one time last year. But after that big, dominating, we are the Kings victory over Eli Manning and company. By the way, Eli and the Giants, they scored 24 points in the fourth quarter yesterday in Philly, won the fourth quarter 24-13, got beat by a 61-yard field goal. So they do have firepower. Obviously, they did not have Odell in Dallas. Sometimes I think Odell is more trouble than he's worth, but that's a whole nother issue. But the opening night was impressive, and I really believe that the Cowboys were fat-catting going to Denver. They thought they had this, man. We got this. We got these guys. They're a little smallish in their little orange front, and they got hit by an orange avalanche in Denver. Denver was incredibly ready to play. It was their Super Bowl. I told Shannon Sharp, they played their Super Bowl. What'd they do yesterday? Denver Broncos went up to Buffalo and got their tails kicked by the Buffalo Bills because they just came out flat. And Trevor Siemian turned back into Trevor Siemian. The Cowboys turned him into Joe Montana, or at least into Dak Prescott. And I still say Dak didn't play that poorly at Denver because, seriously, the 2 interceptions were not his fault. The first one was clearly Dez's fault, and the last one that went 103 yards the other way, Dez ran either he didn't run the route right, but Dak doesn't make a throw like that. He threw it where he thought Dez was going to be, and Dez wasn't there, but Aqib Talib was, and that was the end of that deal. And it was going to be a final score of 35-25, which would have sounded, I don't know, respectable. And there was a chance with about 4 minutes left in the game. He throws a fade route to Dez in the corner of the end zone, and Dez just can't come down with it on Bradley Roby, and it's Dez Bryant, or it used to be. I'm sorry, I'm down on Dez. I don't know. Talk about running in the mud. He's just lost a lot of quickness and speed, just a whole step of quickness and speed that he used to have, and now he doesn't go up with confidence to snatch the ball at its high point the way he did with Tony Romo. He and Dak just don't have quite that wavelength. And Dak was forcing the ball to him at Denver because the read said, Dez, 88, 88, 88. He's single covered the whole time. But what should you do? You should throw it to 88. But he couldn't go win a ball. And so 2 interceptions aren't his fault. And then obviously Jason Witten had a big game, but he also cold dropped a touchdown pass right in his hands. So there's 2 more touchdowns that Dak Prescott should have had at Denver. And it would have felt not so bad. Do I think they could have won? I don't, but it could have been respectably close. So they got taught a big lesson. They got embarrassed. They got humiliated. They got devastated. They got rocked. They got left for dead. And obviously Ezekiel didn't hustle. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. He's running a downfield pass route past the route that Dez Bryant. He was the clear out route, although one of these days he's going to get deep on one of those, and he can catch it. And how many times in his life has he ever run a downfield pass route past the point of the interception where he had to turn around and stop and watch a DB with a head start, had a steam going the other way with a pass that went right through Dez Bryant's hands right to Chris Harris Jr., who ran it back to the 20. I'm not defending him. You can't stop and put your hands on your hip, but do I want him just to gut check it and go after him? I don't care. It doesn't bother me. And the last play of the game, the 103-yard return, Zeke dealt a hellacious leg-cutting block. He just took the legs right out from under the blitzing linebacker of the Broncos, and he wound up on his back with the linebacker draped over him. And so you're supposed to fight your way out from under and go chase Aqib Talib, who's got a head start, and he's already at the 30. I don't know. Whatever. Lesson learned. On to the next game. It took Zeke a while to get on track. He wound up with 80 yards. Offense sputtered. Offensive line sputtered. But they won the football game in a tough place to win in a Monday night game, a very loud crowd against an underrated defense. Man, I'm just looking around. It's just player on that defense. And on offense, they have weapons. They just don't have David Johnson, and they're down a couple of members of the offensive line. Is it scary? Well, what scares me the most is they're so not healthy, the Cowboys on defense. I don't know how they survived it. You want to talk about some tired young men on that plane going home tonight, some dehydrated defenders? My God. They hung in. They hung on. I was highly impressed by this. It's exactly the kind of all guts and finally glory game that gets you back on track. The Rams are dangerous. We saw what they were doing, last Thursday night? I was impressed with the Rams, man. They can do some stuff. They got firepower on both sides of the ball. They will be no pushover. But again, a game you should be able to win at home. And then here we go. Guess who? Aaron Rodgers, back in Jerry world. Back to the scene of the crime. What was it, like third and forever? Throw to Jared Cook. I thought it was just pitch and catch. Byron Jones got lost. They're playing prevent. Again, if they could get the Rams just under their belt, no walk in the park, then you get to, 3-1. Then you see what you got against Green Bay. Green Bay's not a whole lot better on defense than Dallas is, so then we would see, wouldn't we? I think Zeke is going to stay eligible the whole year. I've said that from the start. I think I was ahead of that curve. So I'm a happy Cowboy camper tonight. How about them Cowboys? And how about Undisputed tomorrow, 9:30 to noon Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. We will discuss and we will debate Jerry Jones deciding, okay, I'll kneel. I won't kneel during the anthem. I'll kneel with my team just before the anthem. I got to tell you, for Jerry Jones, that was huge. That was quite a concession. Obviously, our president backed the whole NFL into a corner, out of which it had to respond the way it did yesterday, but it's still, all of it did my heart good. Shannon Sharp, not impressed. He said this morning, I'm sure he'll say the same thing about Jerry Jones, but Jerry's been adamant about the anthem is the anthem. It is not to be disrespected or protested. And for Jerry to submit to kneeling even just a moment before the anthem, kneeling with his team on the football field, it's a start, man. I really loved it. Did my heart good. Sunday did my heart good. It's slowly but surely, it's some progress. Again, maybe it's for some of the wrong reasons, but I don't care. I'll take it. And I'll take Jerry kneeling with his team. And I think the team, which was afraid to protest during the anthem because he had been so adamant about it, I think the team was inspired by the owner. I'll hear something different from Shannon tomorrow, but I'm ready. Hope you're ready for Undisputed tomorrow, 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Way to go, Dallas Cowboys. Good night, Cowboy Nation, and everybody else who's watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.